Hello, my name is Rich Howard, owner of Architectural Builder Supply. In this video is to bring you a closer look at the Cal Royal number RSDL20 US15 round sliding door privacy lock for 1 3/8 doors in a satin nickel finish. This is a piece of residential hardware that you're going to use on sliding doors, pocket doors. And this is a privacy function, meaning that it would be appropriate to use this for a restroom. Okay, or at least in a restroom that was not handicap compliant. This is by no means handicap compliant, but for all installations where you do not require handicap compliance, meaning a public place that requires handicap compliance, this is a nice little nifty piece of hardware, especially very inexpensive as well. So let's take a tour of it. When you take it out of the package, you're going to get this. It's going to look just like this. You're going to get a package of screws, which we'll go over in a moment. And then your installation instructions. And they're below this video as well, so that you can refer to those while we're going through this. So, again, sliding pocket doors is where you're going to use this. You can use this as a single door. You could also get the matching dummy version, which is the RSDL40. If you had a pair of biparting pocket doors, that would be typical to have one in each door. Privacy, let's say a bedroom, and then of course your matching dummy. This is shown in satin nickel finish. That's the US15, and that is going to be very common. All the common finishes are available: your brasses, your bronze, your chromes. This is going to require a 2 1/8 inch diameter hole, which is the absolute normal size for bored holes in residential doors. 2 3/8 back set is required, and that's the most common back set for residential doors. Okay, they even give a reference on the installation instructions to go with 38 inch from the bottom of the door to the center line. That's of course subjective. Whatever you need it to be, it can be. And then of course 2 3/8 from the edge of the door to the center of the hole. Let's jump into the installation instructions. If you would follow along, if you'd like. There is dimensional properties in the upper left-hand corner showing you the strike plate, which is here, and we'll remove it in a moment. 1 1/8 wide, 2 1/4 tall. There's the latch face, which is here. That's 1 inch wide, 2 1/4 tall. A template that you can cut out and apply to the door. If you have any questions specifically about the prepping of the wood door, please feel free to reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to assist with your preparation for this lock. Upper right hand corner shows a list of names for the pieces and parts. That's very handy to familiarize yourself before you go down into the steps of installation. What is the emergency release hole? What is the locking button extension and the release button cover? You should know what those pieces are before proceeding. Step 1, Step 2, and Step 3 is all about the mortising. Drilling the 2 1/8 hole, drilling the cross bore hole. It will be necessary to drill past into the depth of the 2 1/8 hole that you see here. They actually listed at 3 5/8. That's less of a critical dimension, unless of course you have glass in your door. You won't want to over drill that, but I usually just give it another 1/4 inch as I'm drilling in the edge of the door down through the bored 2 1/8 cross hole into the back of the door. Drilling that straight, of course. 15/16 is the required diameter for getting this installed, so you want to be sure that you have a 15/16 bit. Not a real fan of using a fly bit if you haven't spent a lot of time using a spade bit or a fly bit for doing that. You don't want to oval your hole out at all. That 15/16 hole requirement, when you're matching it up to a 1 inch wide faceplate, you don't want to over drill that. You want it to be exactly correct. Any smaller is not going to work. Any larger is not the right idea. Actually, let's start at Step 3, strike plate separation. Study this side. You see that you've got that hole there, and per the diagram, that's the emergency release hole. Let's study the other side, and that place is the locking button extension. On both sides, you have the ability to manipulate the latch bolt. And it's by this button here that you will depress, and then you can pull the latch off. And you can study the inside of the latch bolt as I depress that button. You can see that the little trigger that's there, right in the tip, goes in and out. Non-handed, by the way. You can install this any way you like. So you've got the strike separated. Now you can study that, and you can see what the point is. The jaws that are here are going to have to hit that post. So you're going to have to be right on. You're going to want to transfer your points directly over to where they need to be with your installation, and make sure that your mortising is absolutely correct. Step 4, pull out the latch bolt from the guiding blocks. Do not remove screws. Instantly, that's confusing. You need to remove the 2 screws. I'm just going to remove them and show you what I'm doing. I have the 2 screws removed. It will look like this. You can then take your plate off. You can then pull your latch bolt out. That's the point. The guiding blocks that are here, what they mean is don't remove those. There's no reason to remove these blocks. Now, the block side with the emergency release hole, that's going to be the exterior of the door, the outside. So, at this point, you've got your door mortised, and you're going to very carefully depress the locking button extension in so that you can push it down into the hole. Don't rotate it at all. Just push it straight down. Depress that and get it started. That is, of course, going to be the interior. The emergency release hole that we just indicated was the outside is this little hole here. So you've got the tab here and the hole here. The hole is the exterior. Be sure you don't want to have to try to pull that out and get it working again. This latch bolt is just a little aside. This latch bolt certainly seems like it's well made. I would not want to have to spend too much time touching it. It's a residential piece of hardware that's really not meant to have to go in and out of that hole several times. Put it in the first time correct and you're in good shape. So you've got that placed in, and then at that point you're really just going to apply your trim plates. The side with the guide plates, let's step back. Step 4A, I started to shoot through the installation instructions. Determine which side is the locking side and install the latch by depressing the nylon locking button to fit the 15/16 hole. Avoid twisting. Make sure the locking button is on the locking side of the door. The locking button needs to be on the inside, the side that you're going to lock it on. Step B, install the faceplate with guiding blocks opposite the locking side. Like we said, that's going to be the exterior with the blocks. Check that the emergency release hole is towards the back side of the door. You don't want to install it that way. That hole needs to line up with that hole. So that's how we're saying, not this way. So you will get the latch bolt in. You'll bring your plate over. You're going to then bring your interior plate, same logic, with the locking release pin that needs to, of course, line up. And at that point, you're just going to screw it together with the 2 screws. And as I'm doing that, place the locking plate. Okay, we've jumped all the way to step D, and then step E is secure latch plate in the mortise with 3/4 inch screws provided. So what that's going to give us now, I've got this all put back together. 1 3/8 doors only, by the way, if I've not already said that. The instructions certainly say. Those 4 screws I pointed out before, 2 are going to go here. The other 2 will go in the jamb. Strike plate installation. Determine the location on the jamb by sliding close the pocket door until the latch hits the jamb. You're going to want to be careful with that. Mark the location where the strike hits the jamb. Drill a 15/16 hole 1 inch deep in the center of the mark. Place the strike plate in the hole. Make sure the plate is plumb with the jamb. Plumb, just so that it's parallel. Mark 1 1/8 wide, 2 1/4 tall, mortise, 1/8 of an inch deep, then secure your holes. Okay. I have no problem with that logic. They're actually using this to mark the hole. you know, you're going to want to do that. You're not going to want to have that run into the door, the jamb at all. You're going to want to do that very carefully. You know, I'm more of a fan of maintaining, you know, the actual dimensions. What's the center line of the door and the center line of the jamb? What's the height, center line? Make adjustments for the frame dimension. Mark that off. Then do a reality check with the hardware installed, and then go about your machining. 15/16 1 inch deep. That makes sense. You can get that pushed in there and literally use that as a template, and then use a router if at all possible. Otherwise, a hammer and chisel. So that wraps up all the installation instructions and exhausts all the pieces that were included. I would not have any hesitation to use this piece of hardware in a residential application. The latch seems sturdy. I've used it multiple times. This is the first time I've actually ever reviewing one of these. And I've not installed one, but could see that it would be very easy work to do. Cal Royal, the name is synonymous actually with a comprehensive offering of builders caliber and commercial architectural caliber hardware, exit devices, door closers, lock sets, hinges, a variety of ancillary hardware that goes along with it. I'm partial to Cal Royal and have been a distributor of theirs for 15 years at this point, I think, maybe longer. Because they're a well-oiled machine. Their customer service is reliable and predictable. You send them an order, the next day it's typically shipping. The inventory is incredibly deep. While they do have a minimum order, if there's something non-stock, we do need to usually contend with a minimum order. That's usually not hard to do. Hardware, it's a low minimum order amount, and hardware is, you know, typically expensive, is the bottom line. If you have any questions on the Cal Royal RSDL20 US15 round sliding door privacy lock for 1 3/8 doors, or any other Cal Royal product, please feel free to reach out to us. Thank you.